is called the field, and he who knows this, those who know thereof, call the knower of the field. Shri Krishna addresses Arjuna as Kaunteya, meaning son of Kunti. A knower of the field is one who knows the truth of the field. The field is a body, meaning knowledgeable people. This means that this body is a field, and one who knows this is the knower of the field, such as what wise people say. There is a lot of ambiguity in this verse. If you want to say it in simple and straightforward language, then the difficult part of the Gita begins now. When you begin to climb a mountain, when you go mountaineering, then you can very easily climb it at the beginning, and there's not many difficulties. Or many times it so happens at the beginning it is tough, because if you have travelled on the straight road and are trying to climb heights, then the steeper climb feels very difficult at the beginning. Then slowly you form a habit and it does not matter too much. But the more you begin reaching the summit, then there are a lot of difficulties. The reason for this is that the air begins to get thinner, and there is also less ground near the peak, and therefore the roads begin to get narrow. This causes a lot of difficulty. Now we're going towards the peak of the Gita. We will therefore have to walk together with a lot of care. If our concentration goes for one moment, then we are back to the ground, and we have to start again from where it says, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Dhritarashtra said. Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that this body is the field, so it is said. The word idam is used, meaning this. Now, whoever feels as if this word idam, that everything feels different to us. If you think about it from a spiritual perspective, then idam, har, means this garland. We can also say this purse, this TV camera, this watch, this mirror, or this watch. Whoever feels like it is idam, this, then they say that all of this is not me. At least this is decided. If I call something idam, this, then this means I am not that. This is the very first principle. Whatever you put with the word idam, this, then you think that you are different from it. We must try to understand the word idam, meaning this. Wherever you put the word and say this, and this, then this means that you are not that. You are away from it. You are different from it. Therefore, when it is said that idam shariram, this body, then this means that I am not the body. This is because if you are the body, then how will you be able to say idam shariram, this body? Therefore, the more naturalness with which I can point my finger at each and everything in the world and say idam, this, idam, this, idam, this, then in the same way, that finger comes pointing back towards this body, and it is said that idam shariram, this body. And wherever I am pointing my finger and saying I am not that, for example, when you say I am not the stone, I am not the cement, I am not this column, I am not this microphone, then when that finger comes with as much naturalness to this body, and I say that this body, then it goes without saying that I am not that. Then what is it? If I am not the body, then what is this? Therefore, this has struck our first belief, because up until now, we have been believing that this body is me. If you ask anyone at my discourse, then they'll be able to tell you that Dhruv Chatrali is sitting here. They will talk about this 5'11.5" body. This is not me. Shri Krishna is saying here that idam shariram, this body. If one thinks this, then this body is not true, not me. Then what is this body? Shri Krishna gives us the answer that Kshetram iti abhidayate. This body is called the field. This body is a field. This body is a farm. There is a very simple meaning of the word kshetra, which is used meaning a farm. The body is a field, and the body is a farm. There are different meanings of the word kshetra that we will see. Therefore, until now, this doll made out of clay that I considered to be me, Shri Krishna has struck this belief in the first verse. On the path of Gnan wisdom, the first thing Shri Krishna says that if you leave this one thing, then you'll be able to move forward. Shri Krishna says that this body is called the field, and that if you are sitting there holding your name there, then this is your mistake. This body is a field. This is the first condition to enter into the 13th chapter. The body is a field. The word sharid, body, has come from the stem shru. Shru hinsayam. Shru is that which deteriorates. Shru shiryate. This is the body. This is the meaning of the body. It has been made from 2 drops of water. For 9 months it stayed in the mother's womb, and when it was born, then it weighed 7 pounds. It was 7 pounds, and after growing and growing, it weighed 70 kilograms. Where did this happen from? How did this happen? And from 70 kilograms, it keeps reducing and reducing. It also deteriorates. Why did this happen? This same sharir body has the stem of shrew, that which deteriorates, and this means the thing that went from 7 pounds to 70 kilograms has become like that, so it can go from 70 kilograms to 50 kilograms. The journey of the body was not of one way, that he would keep increasing from 70 kilogram to 80 kilogram to 100 kilogram. And if this happens, then even then it will go back down. It is as if we have few difficulties. The doctor keeps telling us to keep our body weight at a certain level and that it should not increase for more than 70 kilograms. If it is 72 kilograms, then the doctor will tell you to reduce your weight. And if one's body weight goes down to 50 kilograms, then the doctor will say to increase the weight, otherwise we will look very weak. The body makes us start so much like a dancer. Where does this happen from? How does this happen? That which does this is a sharir, a body, with a stem of shrew, that which deteriorates. In reality, the body does only one thing, and that is to deteriorate. That which appears as if it is increasing is going to increase, but eventually it will deteriorate. Medical science has now proved this. When the child becomes a youth, then from the outside we see growth, but on the inside degeneration is taking place. When the child is born, then the child's arteries and veins are like silk, so that they can easily take blood from the heart. Right from day one, slowly and slowly, so much begins to get pushed inside that when one reaches the age of 45 or 50, then with a big bang it falls down. Why is this? Because a lot of things gathered together throughout one's whole life for 50 years. It does not happen all in one day. It all started gathering right from when you were born. And here I'm just talking about the arteries and the veins. In the whole body this work is being done. That is why this body is called the Kshetra field. The word Kshetra field is made from the stem Shir, meaning that which is destroyed. This is what a Kshetra field is. What happens in this is that the difficulties and ajna, ignorance, begins when we consider idam, that, to be aham, me. Idam, that is this body. This means idam, that is not you, but we consider this idam, that, to be aham, me. This is the biggest mistake of all. We consider this to be I. We consider this to be the self. This cannot be the self. And the self cannot be pointed with the word this. And this is the first ignorance in the field of Vedanta. We consider idam, that, to be aham, me. This is where the difficulty is. From the word sharir, body, one other thing should be understood, and that is that God is not just talking about the body that deteriorates. He is talking about all three bodies. Those who have studied the path of yoga will know about these, that this physical body is not our only body. We have three bodies: the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. They are worth understanding. The first is the physical body, which is the awake state and the conscious state. This is made up of the anakosh, the food sheath. There are 5 types of koshas, sheaths, that are called the panchakosh, the 5 sheaths. The 5 panchakosh, the 5 sheaths, are annamaya kosh, the food sheath, the pranmaya kosh, the vital energy sheath, the manomaya kosh, the mind sheath, the vijnanamaya kosh, the intellectual sheath, and the anandamaya kosh, the bliss sheath. There is a very beautiful description of these in the Taittiriya Upanishad. These are the panchakosh, the 5 sheaths. The first body, that is a physical body in the conscious state, is made up of the annamaya kosh, the food sheath. This means that its straightforward relationship is with food. It advances through the relationship with food and deteriorates through the relationship with food. This is the anakosh, the food sheath. After this comes the second body, the subtle body, which is a dream state. When the physical body has gone to sleep, then the subtle body runs its work in dreams. This is the dream state. In this comes the 5 senses of action and the 5 vital breaths. When the senses of action and the senses of knowledge come later, then I'll explain them together with what are the senses of action, what are the senses of knowledge. But when the 5 senses of action and the 5 vital breaths, the pran, apana, udana, samana and vyana meet, then you get the pranmaya kosh, the vital energy sheath. Then come the 5 senses of knowledge and the mind. When these two come together, then there is the manomaya kosh, the mental sheath, the mind sheath. And the intellect is the vijnanamaya sheath, the intellectual sheath. Therefore, when all 3 of the pranamaya kosh, the vital energy sheath, the manomaya kosh, the mind sheath, and the Vijnanamaya Kosh, the intellectual sheath, come together, then you get the subtle body. When the physical body goes away, then the subtle body still remains. It comes with that throughout all our births, with the mind, intellect, and all of this. We say that the Pran Gayo, his Elan Vital, is gone. When someone dies, then Pran Gayo, his Elan Vital, is gone. This means that when the Pranamaya Kosh, the vital energy sheath, comes out, then at the same time the Manomaya Kosh, the mind sheath, and the Vijnanamaya Kosh, the intellectual sheath, come out. When this happens, then we can say Pran Gayo, his Elan Vital, is gone, and the physical body falls. When death actually happens, then it is the physical body and not of the subtle body. In reality, death means when the subtle body comes out of the physical body, and the causal body also comes out of the physical body at the time of death. We have to understand the meaning of the word kosh, sheath, properly. I'm using very technical words such as anakosh, the food sheath, but if I say a simple word with them, then you'll be able to understand them. Kosh means a bag. This is a very simple language. The body of ours is packed into 3 bags. If there is a very nice gift, then it's packaged very nicely. If there is a crockery glass on a gift, then it's covered with wrapping paper there. This wrapping paper is covered with fancy paper there, and on top of that there is gift packaging. The gift packaging is a physical body. This can only work with a gift. It comes out first and it has no use. It is useless. This is the physical body. Everything else is just packaging, such as cardboard, and all of this is the subtle body. This keeps running. Many times it happens that when we get a present and unwrap the outer layer, then we realize that we already have that thing, and we just leave the box inside it as it is. So whenever we have to give something to someone else, then all we do is change the gift packaging on the outside. We wrap new gift packaging around it while the box inside remains the same. The wrapping paper remains the same, and the fancy paper remains the same, and this goes to the other person. Therefore, what happened is that the physical body has changed, but the subtle body and the causal body had carried on running in the way that they were. Therefore, this body of ours will go. I will say when further discussion of this comes in the 15th chapter, Shri Krishna will say in the 15th chapter that Vayu Gandha Nivasyat, both the subtle and the causal body leave the physical body and go. This can be shown using a very simple example. When we're inside a house, then there are 4 walls inside the house. If you're in a room, then the meaning of this is that we are living inside this room. But if we leave the room and go, then does this mean that we have died in that room? Yes, we have died in that room. This is because the room has become our past. In the same way, we are living in the 4 walls of the material world, and when we leave the physical body, then the material world will say that we have died. It depends on the person's perspective. The physical body falls, the subtle body leaves. In the subtle body there is a Pranamaya Kosh, the vital energy sheath, the Manomaya Kosh, the mind sheath, and a Vijnanamaya Kosh, the intellectual sheath. The subtle body therefore has a life breath, the mind, and the intellect. Even smaller than this is the causal body. This is really the cause of life and death. This decides what type of body you want to go into, what type of body you want, what type of birth you want, what type of mother and father you get, and what type of family you get. All of this gets decided through the causal body. And what is in the causal body? It is a whole subconscious state. Throughout our lives we fail to recognize it. This is a subconscious state. We fail to recognize it, but it knows everything about us. The subconscious knows more about us than we know about ourselves. This is because all we know is in the conscious awake state. Every other thing there is to go straight into the subconscious state or the unconscious state, and that becomes the reason for all our births. This is called the Anandamaya Kosh, the bliss sheath, and this body is such that there is not even a need for the senses, the mind, nor the intellect. And what is that which we call liberation? Leaving the physical body with the subtle body and the causal body is called death from the perspective of the material world. And one state is such that the causal body leaves the subtle body of the mind, the intellect, the ego, and the vital breath. And the causal body goes and becomes amalgamated with the Supreme Soul. This is called liberation. Therefore, while the subtle body and the causal body are together, a person will keep having births. This is because the subtle body does not do anything with the causal body apart from looking for physical bodies. It stays in the physical body and it has to leave the physical body, so in that time in the middle it looks for another physical body. But when the subtle body goes and the causal body goes towards God, then this is called liberation. The meaning of this is that our wishes, which are going in the unconscious state of mind, are creating all these births for us. If you wish to attain liberation, then what should you do? The unconscious state should have the wish that I want to have a vision of the Supreme Soul, and I want to become one with the form of the Lord. In our conscious state, you, I, and all of us behave well, and we say that we wish to have a vision of God. But this is the conscious state, and this is only 10%. 90% is the unconscious state. If there is a wish, is there a wish there to attain the Lord? If there a wish is there that I wish to have a vision of the Lord, this is because the conscious state is the physical body. This is going to go in 50 years or so. When the wish to attain God goes into the unconscious level, then the human being attains liberation. This is when the matter reaches the subtle body. The meaning of this is that there is no other way apart from this in life. There is a state between the conscious and the unconscious called the subconscious. Thinkers say this, and I talk about this a lot during my discourses. If you wish to know your true form, then this is not the form when you are standing at the temple. That is not your real self. It is not even your form when you are sitting at a discourse. This is not your real self. What then is your own real self? After coming back from a whole day's work, when we go to lie down after eating, and we are alone in a room, then when we hit the pillow, what thoughts are coming into our minds? That is your real self. At that time, what do you wish to do? Or sometimes it happens that suddenly you are alone at home, and there is nobody else at home. At that time, what do you wish to do? What is the first thought that comes into your mind? That is your real self. If I say it from another meaning, then there are two reasons for each and every activity that we're doing in our lives. The first is that we're doing them as a result of responsibility, and the second is that we're doing them as a result of duty. It is because they are a responsibility or a duty that we have to do them. A person goes to earn money. This is fine because when he gets the money, then he gets confidence that I am able to earn money. I'm doing business and I'm successful. One gets bliss from this. He goes every morning at 9 a.m. to have a meeting with one person and then to have another meeting with another person. He comes back home at 10 p.m. in the evening. He works very hard and he earns money. But the reason for this is that he has responsibilities. He has bought a house and he has to run that house. He is living in society and he has to fulfill his duties. He has to do his everyday tasks. He has gained a status and he has to maintain that status. All of these are fears at the back of his mind. But let us imagine that all of this goes. He has no responsibility, he has no everyday tasks to do, he has no daughter to marry, and he has nothing at all to do, and yet his body keeps running. He gets whatever food he wants, he gets to live in the house that he wants to live in, and his status will remain maintained in the way that it was. If this state came, then we wish to do business. After this state comes, then what wish does he have? This is his real self. Or when his wife is working in the kitchen, when she is teaching his children, when she's taking interest in his children's activities, or whatever she is doing, why is she doing it? And all of this will get done. Let us say that she obtains insurance, that even if she does not set foot in a kitchen, then she will get the best cooking of all, or that her children will get the best culture and education in the world, in the void that has arisen. Then what would she do in that time? That is your real self. You should practice trying to recognize your real self. Think about whatever I have to do. If all of that stops happening, and yet it leads to no difference in my circumstances, then what will I do? And one should do this from the heart and authentically. One does not need to tell anyone else. If you feel that even after that I will perform bhakti, devotion of God, then consider that you are a devotee of God. A person gets many different types of thoughts. If I were to go further, then I'll say that if one has no fear of sins or punya, the opposite of sins, no fear of a judging court, no fear of police, and no fears at all, and you only do what your mind feels like, then what will you do? Plato has put this thing in a very short statement that if a person gets a ring that makes him invisible, then how many people will remain noble? If you're giving a ring that if you wear it then nobody will know what you do, then how many people will be there who wear this ring and do good deeds? The reason why we all stay good is that we do not have the courage to be bad, and that is why. How many people are there like this? When this good deed reaches the unconscious and reaches the subtle body, then one gets liberation with the mind, the senses, and all of this is at peace. This is the Anandamaya Kosh, the bliss sheath. Above all of these is a fourth state, that is the state of Samadhi, becoming one with God. This is a very peak state. It is not the subject that we're on right now, and so I will not go into it very deeply. I'll just say that if you even reach the subtle body, then that is not enough. Then even that is enough. You can reach the subtle body. We spoke about the word idam, meaning this. We spoke about the word shariram, body, and the third thing that God says is kshetram, the field. The word kshetram, the field, is said for three reasons. The first reason is that it protects from injury. Shatatranat. The reason why this body is called the kshetram, the field, is that it protects us from injury. The second reason is because it perishes, shayat kshetranat kshetram, or disintegrates. Shiyate nashyati sharyati iti va apishayanti iti kshetram. Just like the flame of a lamp keeps dying out at each and every moment, we think that the flame of the lamp is one. But scientists say that it is not one, but there are an endless amount of flames in the lamp. One comes and one goes and another comes. Another goes and a third one comes. And the time between one comes and the other goes is such a short time that we think that it's only one flame. It is not one flame. There are an endless amount of flames. And that is why when the lamp dies out, then what happens is that the last flame goes, and the flame that was meant to come and replace it did not come. And that is why we say that the lamp has died out. This is the constant activity where the flame comes and goes. In the same way, this body is constantly deteriorating, and in the end it gets destroyed. Shankaracharya says that the third reason why we say kshetram, the field, is as it gives right to the fruits of works, just as a field does. Kshetra vatva asmin karma phala nishpatahe. If you plant something in a farm and it grows, then you'll get the fruit. Whatever you plant in the kshetram, the field of the body, you will get the fruits. The planting is the karma, the action, and the fruit that comes is the consequences of pains or pleasures or the fruit of karma action. The same thing happens here. If we look at the word kshetram, the field, in its meaning, then it only applies to the human body. The word kshetram, the field, does not apply to any other type of body. This is because the bodies apart from human bodies are called transverse bodies, or bodies for consumption. If one has committed sins, then the human being goes from a human being to the body of an animal and faces the consequences of those sins. If one has performed satkarma, divine acts, then one attains the body of a dev, a deity, and enjoys the fruits of satkarma, divine acts. We have seen when God said earlier in the Gita that Shine punya matyalokam vishanti. When one's punya, the opposite of sins, run out, then one goes back into the world of life and death in a human body. Therefore, when we take the body in the meaning of a farm, then this meaning only applies to a human body. In all other bodies, one only has to leave having facing the consequences of the karmas. No new kriyama karmas are created, karmas that are created in the present. Then how important does a human body become? It becomes greater than all other bodies. There is a verse in Sanskrit that Anya Shetre Krutam Papam Punya Shetre Vinashyati Punya Shetre Krutam Papam Vajra Lepo Pavishyanti. In reality, nobody ever looks at this. So basically that verse means if one has committed sins in any other field and goes to a holy place, then they get washed away there. But if one has committed sins in a holy place, then these sins become cemented. If one has committed some sins somewhere else and goes to the holy city of Hardwar, then these sins get washed away. But if someone has committed sins in the body with punya, the opposite of sins, then it becomes cemented. Where can one go to wash these? On the majority of occasions, this verse is used when talking about holy places. But if we think about the 13th chapter of the Gita, then the Punya Kshetra, which is the field that is of the opposite of sins, is the body. And we begin taking the meaning that Anya Kshetra Krutam Papam Punya Kshetra Vinashyati Punya Kshetra Krutam Papam Vraja Lepo Bhavishyati. If one has committed sins in any other field and goes into a human body, then it is possible for them to wash their sins away. But if one has committed sins in a human body, then these sins are cemented. If one has committed sins in any other field and goes into a human body, then it is possible for them to wash their sins away, to destroy their sins and to cut their sins. But in this body that is the Punya Kshetra, the field of the opposite of sins, and if one has come into this and committed sins, then the sins become like cement. The human body has a lot of importance. The commentator Nilkant says that this body is called a Kshetra, field, because this body without wisdom destroys itself while protecting the soul with wisdom. Shinoti atmanam avidyata traita tvam vidyaya iti kshetram. Shankar Anandji says that the body is called the Kshetra field, because through love it protects a person from the destruction of the life and death of many bodies. There are many other different meanings of the word Kshetra field. In Sanskrit, women are also called Kshetra field. This is because they give birth to children. I can say using poetic language that children grow in the bodies of their mother. In this way, a woman is a farm in the Kshetra field. Therefore, the more beautiful the Kshetra, the field, and the more cultured that the children are. The seed of the male falls into the ground in the form of the woman, and the child grows. Therefore, we also call women a Kshetra field. Therefore, the seed must be of a good quality, and the field must also be of a good quality. Those who have been on a farm will have experienced this, that when they see people farming, if the seed is of a good type and the land is of a good type, then the crop is going to be beautiful. Women are also called Kshetra field, and that is why Shri Krishna addressed Arjuna in this verse as Gaunteya, son of Kunti. The hint of the word Kshetra field has been given from the beginning. It has been said in this meaning that Arjuna is Kunti's son, Kunti is Arjuna's mother and a woman, Kunti is a Kshetra field. There are meanings behind what God is addressing Arjuna as. Shri Krishna addresses Arjuna as Gaunteya, the son of Kunti. The body is called the Kshetra field. This means that I am not the body. Shri Krishna says that he who knows the Kshetra, the field, is called the Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. The reason why ignorance is increasing in life is that from a young age we have increased body consciousness so much that we do not even think that we are just connecting individuals with the body. If you want to praise a child, then you have to do it by means of the body, saying that he is such a beautiful child. What is beautiful? His skin is beautiful. Do we ever think with the soul? When we look at a child, then do we ever think about his soul? No. We say that he is very light-skinned, he has very fair hair, he has very innocent eyes. All of this is of the body and the body. From childhood, the child thinks that, why am I beautiful? Because I am light-skinned? Why am I beautiful? Because I have fair hair? Why am I beautiful? Because I have very innocent eyes. All of these are associated by people with the body, whether it is a boy or a girl. They are associated by people with the body. Therefore it becomes so fixed in the child. We have associated this with the body. A small child never associates with the body. Not only that, but if we want to criticize the child, then it is done with the body. We say that there is snot coming out of the child's nose. There is criticism there. We say that the child's hair is in a mess. We may say that the child is smelling. We can say that the child is making big eyes. We can say that the child has a big belly. We can say that the child has skinny arms and legs. How are all of these things of criticism made? It is made through the body. Therefore, if one wishes to praise the child, then they do it with the body, and if one wishes to criticize the child, then they also do it with the body. Saints such as Vinoba Bhava go so further as to say that even if they wish to punish the child, then they do it through the body. If they come late to school, then the teachers in the villages during olden times were very strict and would slap the child. 2 days teachers cannot hit the child, but the teachers in olden times would hit the children. 4 fingers would be raised. If the child comes late, then what gets punished? What is the fault of the cheek that the 4 fingers are raised on it? The body is punished for this. And the body has the body got anything to do with this? That if 4 fingers are raised towards it, then it will come on time tomorrow? No, but this is a punishment of the body. If they had told the child to come sit next to them and ask the child while the child came late, then they would find out that it was not important to the child. This should make their mind understand, and they should put this topic into their intellect that, son, you should come on time. They have not even touched the mind nor the intellect and just hit the child. It is because of the mind that the child came there late. The child may have come late because he could not decide properly in his intellect and he could not prioritize properly. This has happened because of the mind and the intellect, but the punishment is given to the body. Whatever is happening is in relation to the body. Therefore, our relationship with the body increases so much. In reality, nobody ever looks at their soul. If you look a little in society and if you look at in our own lives, then how many times have we made efforts in order to have a vision of the soul? Have we ever tried to go beyond the body and inside the body? Have we ever tried to leave habits and to leave the sheath of the body? Maybe never. One who knows this and thinks about this is a Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. He is the knower of the Kshetra, the field. One who knows the body is not the knower. One who knows the body is not the knower of the Kshetra, the field. This is what the word Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, is interpreted as many times. If there is a rose, and I know that rose, then I become the knower of that rose, and I can say that I have a very good knowledge of roses. But here the whole thing is the other way around. Over here the body is a kshetra, the field, but one who knows this body is not a kshetragna, the knower of the field. This body is a kshetra, the field, and one who knows that I am different from this is a kshetragna, the knower of the field. One who knows this difference is a kshetragna. One who can create this distance is the actual knower of this body and of this field. All the words ending with gna in relation to the material world mean that in whatever field you are, you have gone deep into that field, and you therefore become very knowledgeable about that field. Who can you call a garitagna? It is one who is knowledgeable in garit, mathematics. He knows that 2 plus 2 equals 4, 3 plus 3 equals 6, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. He says all of this very quickly. He is a garitagna, a knowledgeable in mathematics. If you ask him anything about mathematics, then he will know it. It is not like that over there. It is so in the material world that if you want to get experience about something, then you have to get involved in it, and you have to get lost in that particular field. And only then can you get expertise in that field. A person who is an expert in the field of economics is one who thinks about economics all day and does not think about anything else. He keeps thinking about Marshall, Karl Marx, and all these people's thoughts. That is what he does all the time. Thoughts of spirituality are a little different. What is spirituality? Spirituality says that one who believes that I am different from this body is the knower of the body. This is the person who is a kshetragna and a knower of the field. Does this mean that one should have contempt for the body? No, it means that one considers the body to be the means. One has to do farming, and the body is the instrument. And the instrument should be good. Not only that, but if the instrument is damaged, then you should repair it. But if someone just keeps repairing the instrument and never uses it, then what will happen? If someone has a spade for the farm, and they like the spade very much, look after the spade very much, paint the spade a lot, and polish the spade a lot, then they're making wrong use of the spade. They should do farming activities with the spade. No, they just worship the spade. If this is the case, then the spade becomes useless. In the same way, this body is a field, it is an instrument, I am its owner, and I am different from the body. Let us go a little deeper. Radhakrishnan has said something very nice, that Prakriti, nature, is unconscious activity, and Purush, the soul, is inactive consciousness. Let us try to understand this. Prakriti, nature, is unconscious activity, and Purush, the Supreme Soul, is inactive consciousness. So many activities take place in the body. What we call the body is a part of Prakriti, nature. God is going to say this later in this chapter, that the body has been created out of the 5 elements, and so much activity is going on inside the body. When we go to sleep, then does the body sleep? No. In each and every cell, the amount of work that is going on is equivalent to the amount of work in the factory. Respiration takes place where one is breathing. Oxygen reaches each and every cell. Carbon dioxide comes out and it goes outside. So much happens. If we eat something earlier, then it gets digested, goes into our blood. The blood travels and goes to the cells. In each and every cell, so much constant activity is going on. Do we know about all of this activity? This is Prakriti, nature, which is unconscious activity. It is constantly working, but we are unknowing about this. And Purush, soul, is inactive consciousness. What is a soul? It is consciousness. It is awakeness. But what is it like? It is inactive. Even in sound sleep, the Purush, the soul, is awake. If it goes from unconscious, then the person will be gone, and people will start chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. The Purush soul is awake, and that is why the activities of the body are going on. If the entire factory shuts down and all of this happens, then there will always be a security guard sitting in the factory with a stick in his hands. If even he goes, then there will be difficulties. This is consciousness. This is inactive consciousness. It is inactive because we do not use it. We are never awake. We have never seen Purush, soul, and therefore we have never created the relationship with Purush, the soul. It is inactive. But the body is a kshetra, the field in which all of these events are made, where the Purush, the soul, is in the conscious state, but it is detached. It is inactive. When all of these events are happening in life, and when all of these events are created, the Purush, the soul, standing behind all of this is the kshetragna, the knower of the field, which is a light of awareness. This is the kshetragna, the knower of the field, who is a knower of all objects. The kshetragna, knower of the field, is a seer, but in order to see, he does not get help from the eyes, the mind, or the intellect. This is because he is beyond the eyes, the mind, and the intellect. If I'm sitting at a discourse as a seer, and a lot of people are looking at me, then I'll know what all of these people are doing, for example, who is listening with concentration and who is not listening with concentration. I'll know about all of this because I'm the seer. But how do I become the seer? Through my eyes. The eyes begin picking up everything like a camera, and the mind begins analyzing that one person is listening properly and another person is not listening properly. This keeps happening. When I am looking at the material world as a seer, then the eyes, the mind, and the intellect are all needed. But the Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, is a seer without the help of the senses, without the help of the mind, and without the help of the intellect. And that is where his greatness is. That is why Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, is described by so many commentators as the Supreme Soul. Who is this Kshetrajna, the knower of the field? A Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, is one who knows that the body is this, idam shariram, from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet in three ways, either through conspicuous knowledge, naturally, or through knowledge that has been preached to him. Kshetram janati abidalat mastakam gnanena visha karoti va swabhami kena upadakena vradanti vibhagshena vishay karoti iti Kshetrajnaha. So one who also knows this for certain is Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. While this person has the feeling that I'm the body, then there will be slavery. And the moment from which we understand ourselves to be different from the body, then the slavery is gone. When the relationship with the body is gone, then the slavery has gone. This means that one should reside in the body, and the relations with the body should go away. Only then would one get liberation. A person went to a Sufi saint and asked him to show him the path of liberation. He asked about how he would get liberation. The Sufi saint gave him a coconut and told him to break the coconut. He asked that, I will get liberation if I break the coconut? The Sufi saint said, yes, break the coconut, but be careful. When you break the coconut, then the water and seed inside should remain intact. Break it and show me. Then you will get liberation. It was natural that he put the coconut by his ear and found out that it was a green coconut with water, a seed, and everything. He said, how can I reckon this? Because if I break it, then this coconut will be broken into two parts, and all the water will be come out. This is not possible. The saint told him, give the coconut back to me and do not break it. The Sufi saint gave him another coconut and told him to break it, but that only the skin on the outside should be broken, and the inside should remain intact. He also put this coconut by his ear. It was a very dry coconut. He said, yes, I will be able to break this. The Sufi saint said, leave it. Do not break this. From this you have realized that while something remains struck, then it will not be able to remain intact. And if something remains separated, then it will remain intact. That is the solution to liberation. While you remain glued to your body, then you're going to break. In life, whenever there is a hurt of the material world on the body, mind, or intellect, then the reason why people fall is that they remain stuck on. People are so stuck on two things, that this is my husband, this is my child, this is my son, this is my daughter, this is my business, this is my person, that is my boss, that is my aunt. People are so struck on these two things that no matter what they do afterwards, then they have to work so hard not to be hurt. They say that, how can you do this to me? It immediately hurts them. The more we get struck onto things, then the more that they will hurt us. And the more that we struck onto these things, then the more that they have the ability to hurt us. If one has two friends, but one is very close to one and distant from the other, then if the friend who is close to him does something, then it will lead to a lot of difficulties. But if the person who is not close to him does something, then it will not matter to him, because there is not much of a relation between them. Both of them have the same thing, but who has done the job of sticking onto one of them? We have done it. And the more that we stick onto two things, then the more that they hurt us. In order to remain intact, one needs to have this separation. This is extremely necessary. And when this body consciousness goes away and one feels that I am not the body, then all of this falls away. The slavery goes. There was once a demon. The demon had kept a person as a slave. He made him do black market work. The person could not say anything, and if he asked for food, money, or a few days holiday, then the demon would say, no, I'll eat it. I'll eat you if you do not do my work. The poor person would keep on doing labor work. He was thinking that if I do not do this work, then he'll eat me because he's a demon. He would keep doing labor work. How much work can a person do without eating and without resting? Then in the end he got tired. After a little while he became very thin and skinny. He no longer had any interest for his body, his mind, or anything. The demon would keep making him do labor work. One day this person felt extremely tired and he wanted to rest a little. When he went to rest, then he said that, "Let me rest a little and then I'll do the work that you give me." The demon said that, "I will eat you." This person was so frustrated that he said, "Eat me then." As soon as he said, "Eat me then," was that demon going to eat anything? This is because if the demon was going to eat him, then he would have eaten him on the first day. The demon did not want this person in order to keep him, but the demon wanted the person in order to make him work and in order to make him do hard labor. If the demon would hit him, then he would do the labor work. As soon as the demon said, "Eat me," then the person said, "Eat me," then the demon said, "No, rather than that, have half an hour of rest." This is because the demon did not want him in order to eat him. But this person took a very long time to understand. The poor person got finished, and only when he could not bear any longer at the end, then he said, "Eat me then." This is what happens to us. At the age of 80 or 90, we tell the material world to go, and the material world says, "What am I going to do with you?" The material world is a demon, which has been making you and I do labor work. We do so many types of labor work for the material world. We think that he would feel like this, and she would feel like that, and he will say that, and she will say that. We have so many fears through the material world. We think that people will do this, and people will do that. People will criticize me, people will talk about me. But if a person understands at the age of 20 or 25 that the material world come and eat me, talk as much as you want about me, criticize me as much as you want, and do whatever you want, then with one have any fear towards the demon of the name of the material world? This state can come. What I mean to say that is, while one has identification with the body, fears will stay and slavery will stay. It is because one has identification with the body that they have an identification with the material world. And the moment when the identification with the body goes, and one realizes that the body is a kshetra, field of God, then at that moment the material world goes away as well. Slavery to the material world no longer stays, and one is not affected by blame or praise. Whenever I talk about the feeling of leaving the body, then out of all ancient thinkers, I remember Socrates. He was a great personality, and I have a lot of adoration towards Socrates. I have as much adoration for Socrates as I have for rishis. I often say Rishi Socrates. If he was born in India, then he would be regarded as a rishi. He was so great. Socrates was given the punishment to drink poison. He was a very big thinker, and what was his crime? There was an allegation that he was put on him that he was corrupting the youth of Athens. What Socrates was saying was the truth, but people have to put on some allegation. Society always needs to put allegations. They put the allegation on him that he was corrupting the youth of Athens. He was given the punishment of drinking poison. The students who were with him, close to him, had made a lot of plans in order to make Socrates go away and take him outside of Greece. Socrates said that, "No, where do I want to go and run away to? If you make me run away from death, then it is going to come back in 2 or 5 years. How are you going to make it run away at that time?" And Socrates has said that, "When I die, then I will become immortal." These were his words. He said that the work that I'm doing to awaken people is my life mission, and maybe I am given this punishment to drink poison and die so that my work will increase. People will be able to understand me better, and if I run away, then my work will run away. Socrates was talking about the immortality of the soul, and if he therefore ran away, then the people would find this strange. It is worth reading about the life of Socrates. You'll find it strange and unusual. On the next day he was going to get the punishment of drinking poison, but on the night before, Socrates was talking about the immortality of the soul and the mortality to his pupils. During the discourse, Socrates has said that, "Are all of these people going to kill me? How will they be able to kill me? After 4 or 5 days, or even after 4 or 5 years, the body is going to fall. If they kill that which is going to be killed anyway for 5 days earlier or 4 or 5 years later, then what have they achieved and what big thing have they shown?" He spoke about the immortality of the soul in order to give assurance to his pupils. He said that, "I am going, but don't you worry. Do not get sad about your separation from me." The discourse on the immortality of the soul finished, and the people asked Socrates that, "Master, if your death is going to come tomorrow, then how shall we bury you?" This is what the pupils asked. Socrates began laughing out very loudly and said that, "Is this all you have learnt from me? Are you asking about burying me? You asking about how you will bury me, and you feel as if you're asking this because you care for me and because you have a lot of feelings for me." His pupils really had the worry that how will we bury him? We should bury him according to how he wishes. Socrates asked them that, do you feel as if you have a lot of feelings for me? My enemies are going to poison me and kill me, and you, my friend, are asking how you're going to bury me? You are my people. Who is going to kill whom? And who is going to bury whom? The people who kill me will be calling my enemies, and the people who bury me will be calling my friends. We always look at how many people went to the funeral. If people are close to the person, then they will have to go. What kind of rules does this material world have? Does coming to the funeral be regarded as closest people to the person? We say that we are very close to them, and so we will have to go. Keep it because another person is going to come. A person who kills someone is regarded as an enemy, whereas a person who buries someone is regarded as a friend or a relative. Socrates says that by asking about how you're going to bury me, do you become my friend? Socrates' words were that I am going to remain living by burying all of you. That is what Socrates says. He says that I am going to stay. And how true is the saying? All the people who either killed or buried Socrates were forgotten, and 1,500 years later, Socrates is left standing in the way that he was. Who knows where the people who killed him and the people who buried him got lost? This is Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. He knows that I am not the body. One who knows this is Kshetrajna, knower of the field. End of class. Tvameva mata